Lot of stuff going on at the State House right now.
Yes, that's putting it mildly. Okay, as soon as I hear my own
Lot of
voice.
stuff going on at the State House right now.
All right, we are live on YouTube, so I will kick us off. Welcome, folks, to the June 24th, 2025 meeting of the MBTA Rider Oversight Committee. I'm Stefan Wunsch. I'm the co-chair. I'm in Lynn, Massachusetts, and I'll introduce Wig Zamor, the other co-chair of the Rider Oversight Committee.
You have to say what the temperature is where you are.
Yes, the temperature is a balmy 100, pretty much all right on 100. I looked at about 2 hours ago in the sun. Our outdoor thermometer said 115 in the sun. So there you go. There's a weather report from Lynn, 115 in the sun. But Wig, want to say hi? Just make sure we can hear you okay.
Sure. This is Wig Zamor from Somerville. Happy to be here. I think it's a little hotter indoors than out at this point. It's actually getting kind of pleasant in the breeze outside.
Well, we are only scheduled until 6:30 today, as you can see from the agenda. So you'll be getting outside in less than an hour and 15 minutes.
Actually, we have a 6:30 meeting on the ped and bike bridge connections from Somerville to Everett.
Oh, is that something that you happen to have handy? I would join that just to listen. Is that something that you have in an email where you could put the link like into the Zoom chat, perhaps? Or just tell me what to search?
Why don't I just forward it to you two separately?
Yeah, that would be great.
And then you can you can look at it and pick up the links. It moved around a lot as to location and time, but it's going to be all online at 6:30. It's an important connection because the ped and bike connection comes down from Lynn to the other side of the Mystic, and
exactly
it would be good for people who live at Costco or work at the casino to who are on the Orange Line, that they could then just walk to work, basically.
Exactly. Yep. Is that something that if you feel up for it, is that something that you'd be able to review for us with us at the subcommittee in 2 weeks?
Sure.
Or not 2 weeks, but on July, let me just double check to make sure I'm not lying.
Yeah, I'm
about 2 weeks. Yeah, July 8th.
I'm gonna attend the whole thing, so I'm happy to chat about it.
That would be great. And well, you're probably a subject matter expert, or much more so than me. So even if I view it, I might not be able to recount the salient points.
Well, we always have had a dual track in Somerville where some people focus a little bit more on clean transit and some people focus a little bit more on walking and biking. And we work really well together. But those two groups have been critical in both getting some cost-effective transit here, but hooking the transit up to long history of walking and bike projects.
Right. And the you did say Mystic River.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Because
that is quite, if I'm not mistaken, the Mystic is quite a moat. That's a barrier unless you go way up to Route 28 or all the way down to near Sullivan Square, right?
Well, Route 28 is one end of Assembly, and Sullivan Square is the other end of Assembly. So
yeah, and there's nothing in the middle unless you want to get in a canoe or a kayak, right?
It's 100% Assembly Square. Although there is some, there's some, the bus, the really big bus facility is in Charlestown, right? So that's also on that same, that backs up to the same path effectively. So it's Sullivan Square, Cabot, a few small lots, and then Assembly Square, and then Route 28.
This would be Yeah, I'm definitely going to be watching this tonight. You said it starts at 6:30 and it's online?
Yes.
That's going to be great.
I'm gonna pop out. I'm gonna send it to you right now.
That's great. Yeah, please do. To turn it over to, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't give you a chance to introduce yourself, Len. I apologize.
Oh, no, no problem. No problem. I had forgotten. I wasn't offended at all. I had forgotten. I was just listening to you all. So Leonard Diggins, I live in Arlington, where it is 103 degrees now. Yeah, it had been as high as 106 about a couple hours ago.
106 actual, not the adjusted feels like from
No,
humidity.
100 actual. No, the adjusted was 112, 114.
Jeez.
Yeah, yeah.
That's scary.
But we have heat pumps. And I like it warm. So we have heat pumps. I think we're set like at the low 80s, which is really just kind of balmy for me.
Yeah.
I have a shirt on now because I'm on Zoom with you all, but normally I don't, just because
Oh yeah.
the tank tops is generally what I wear. Given my own devices, because
I can
I really like having
relate to
my
that.
arms like loose, but then I'm not on
Yep.
camera.
Oh yeah. Thanks to our window air conditioner units, it's not cool as such in our house around here, but
Yeah.
it's been dehumidified very
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
Our air conditioners do a great job of pulling out the humidity. So even though it's kind of hot, it's we're very fortunate.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine less fortunate folks with no climate control. Yeah.
Well,
But
I can't. I grew up without AC.
likewise, yeah.
And we didn't have it here for a while. And my
Mhm.
main concern here without AC, was my computers, because they overheat. When the fan, can't eject the heat into a cooler air temperature, then it starts overheating. So,
Yep.
so on my Mac Mini, which is a static drive, it just heat up. I freeze ice, a big container of ice, and just kind of put that on top of it
No
to,
kidding.
to help cool it down.
Because if you don't do that, your computer will actually overheat.
Well, that's my
Or
concern. Because
oh,
clearly, if you
wow.
read the specs, you're not supposed to run these computers like when
True.
the air temperature is like I think it's pretty low, like 85 or 90. If it's like 90,
Yeah, that's true.
then and you can put your hand on top of it and tell that it's not cooling down. It's like getting hot. So yeah, I never had a problem with it, but I felt that the lower I could keep the temperature, the better off it would be. Anyways, so do we want to dive into some of the decks? Hello?
Yeah.
I think we may have lost Stefan.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, it makes sense. Maybe had to chat with his wife for a sec, but
Yeah,
that makes sense to me.
sure.
Yes, sorry about that. Yes, let's dive right in.
Okay. So the deck that I want to start, this is all from the last board meeting. It was actually the very last one on the list. Is on income eligible refuse bears.
I had a feeling that you were going to want to talk about that, and I
Yeah.
have it ready to go.
No, it seems to be doing very well. I'm actually inclined to
Yep.
write a letter, thanking the T and the governor, for keeping this program going. And the stats they gave on it are really pretty impressive. Meaning that clearly they have the data, or they collected the data. That's good. We would expect that, but then they went ahead and broke it out for us, and so. And you might want to reach out to your folks in Lynn too. I'm surprised that neither Arlington nor Lynn were on um, the list of those. Oh, actually, Lynn is on it. They give you the ranking of approved applicants by municipality. This is on slide number 9. So never mind. I see Lynn there. Lynn's at 527. But
Yeah.
Arlington,
Lynn has to be there.
yeah.
Yeah, without a doubt. Yeah.
Yeah. Boston is 10 times the next nearest, which is Quincy. So Boston's coming in at
Oh,
300. Quincy's at
Oh,
12,
that's
1200.
scale there. I wouldn't have figured that scale different. Wow.
Yeah, yeah. Cambridge 961. So Cambridge is a nice showing there. Malden's showing up nicely, which is good because I would imagine Malden could be a community that we would need it, but isn't really getting it because people just didn't know about it for whatever reason. But Revere's showing up nicely. Somerville, I would expect more from Somerville,
Yeah, I would too.
and Chelsea, I expect more from Chelsea, but maybe for the population size, that's fine. And I guess,
Right.
I guess I could get the population size, and do a percentage, but more so it'd be interesting to see if the T has a breakdown of the number of riders in general, from these municipalities, and they probably have that. Be Now they may not have it with the level of accuracy that they have for the applicants, because the applicants have to specify from where they come. The other data would be probably ODX data, and so they'd be kind of inferring where they are or from. So it's just a curiosity, but I might ask around. I might ask Jonathan or someone. If they know where we can maybe get some estimate data on where the riders are coming from, and then kind of match that up against the people who are using it to see what the percentages look like. It's mainly curiosity at this point, but Arlington's not on the list. I'm not sure what to make of that. Arlington's fairly well off, and it may very well be that Arlington just doesn't have a lot of T riders, because most of ours, most of the people we get, are either from East Arlington and they're walking to Alewife, or they're coming from the Heights, and they're taking either 77 to Porter or Harvard Square, or I think it's a 72 or 76 that goes to Harvard Square.
Well, look, Brookline is only 2/3 down from the top.
Right.
And I also, if I'm not mistaken, Randolph is, I don't want to use the incorrect term, but I believe in that area, like the Randolph Holbrook area, is a fairly I don't want to say well-to-do. I apologize if I'm not using a good term, but I wouldn't be surprised if Arlington is would have been next on the list, below Randolph, for example, from what you're saying.
Yeah, it's funny when I look at Randolph and Weymouth. I would think that you would get an Arlington before you would get either of those two. Watertown's not on here. I would expect Watertown to be here. Waltham's not on here. I would expect Waltham before Weymouth or Randolph. So it's just kind of interesting. The neighborhood breakdown is interesting.
I wonder if there's a relationship between the number of approved applicants and the density of the transit network. I bet there has to be a connection there. Would you imagine that?
I think another issue is what is the form of the affordable housing? Some of these cities, like Cambridge, has much larger affordable housing projects than Somerville, for example.
Right.
They're different forms. So there's an opportunity if somebody's on the ball to get a lot of people registered in one location.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
I see what you mean. So not necessarily coupling the amount of housing to the number of applicants, but the density of the affordable housing leads to better outreach.
Yes.
That's brilliant. I never would have thought of that.
Yeah.
And Cambridge has, a robust city budget because they're commercial, because of their commercial wealth.
Yep.
But they have traditional populations that have been in Cambridge for a long time.
Yeah.
That's really
Well,
now. Does that hint at wanting to ask more about the outreach and whether there's more to be done? I mean, it sounds like that's sort of under the surface of what you just were saying or suggesting, Wig.
Yeah, well, I've spent a lot of time in public process, both in Cambridge and Somerville. In Somerville, I tend to step front a little more, and in Cambridge, I'm very respectful of the local participants and making sure they go first. The other thing to look here is Chelsea. Chelsea is uniformly. Chelsea has a lot of poverty per square mile. Chelsea's the second densest in the state after Somerville. And they have a lot of poverty in their 2 square mile city. So I think they've probably done a good job. And groups like the Chelsea Collaborative have been working there for quite a while and able to work and complement the city's efforts. The other thing, by the way, about Malden is they're pretty organized in Malden. They have a huge workforce that goes to the hospitals and the medical centers and uses the Orange Line. The Orange Line is really important to Malden.
right. And the 108 too.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. And that was one of the bus lines, or one of the lines that has a high proportion of these tested riders. So in terms of outreach, Stefan, they show what they're going to do. It's probably a combination of what they have been doing, what they are going to do on slide number 15. And what is interesting too was that they mentioned that the way that they work with partner agencies, I guess, is unique in the industry. And that the other properties have been reaching out to them. So benefits of our novel program implementation, or never mind, those are the benefits, which are good. I will see if I can find out what the actual sources are. They said an MIT study and an LA study. I'll see if I can track down the actual sources. That's pretty good to show some of the quantifiable effects of doing this.
While you do that, I have to just reflect on one thing, because Wig, as soon as you mentioned Chelsea, I just thought I need to look. I just pulled up the Wikipedia page list of municipalities in Massachusetts.
Yep.
I am flabbergasted that I didn't just know and understand automatically. This is a list of all 351 municipalities in Massachusetts, and Chelsea is the smallest.
Yep.
I either didn't know that or I forgot, and I am just floored. I didn't know. So 2020 census, just a hair over 40,000 people.
Yep.
In 2.2 square miles of land area. So that's
Yep.
that's the, not counting bodies of water,
Yep.
lakes, ponds, rivers, whatever. That is astounding. 40,000 people in 2.2 square miles of land. And it's the smallest municipality in Massachusetts.
And Somerville's denser.
Oh yeah.
But not much.
Not yeah, much. I was just noticing, yeah. Somerville is 81,000 people in 4.1 square miles. So, but wow.
They're about twice as dense as Arlington. Because Arlington has about maybe about 46,000, and I think we're 5 square miles, 4 square miles.
You nailed it. Yeah, 46,000 and 5.0 square miles of land. Yeah. But I'm floored about Chelsea. That's right around the corner from me, and I didn't know that.
Yeah, some of it is green space. I mean, think of how big Lynn Woods are.
Right.
Lynn is a big city. Relatively.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. But but wow. I mean, I have a general sense of population density, but the total small size of Chelsea I'm sorry, I'm belaboring the point.
Well,
Wow.
it is a big issue for, park space and green space and stuff like that,
Right.
because those things are pretty important for environmental relief and escape for populations.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I'm sorry. I hate to cut you off, Len. I just have to make one thought because it just flew into my head. Um, one of the beefs that I've had with transit, particularly rail neglect in the last 50, 60, 70 years, way before any of us were around, was the the Chelsea Saugus uh branch railroad being allowed to wither and die, because that whole rail corridor, yeah, it's now a part of the Northern Strand Trail, but
Right.
that was a real loss that will probably never come back to rail. Damn shame. But okay, sorry to cut you off, Len. Go ahead.
so on slides 18 and 19, we're
Yeah.
showing the financial impact. So you see the number of riders going up, and then the additional trips that are being generated. And then on slide 20, it shows you the range of costs being associated with the program. So going from 37 to 44 million, this coming fiscal
Yeah.
year,
Mm-hmm.
to 57 to 67. So that's a fair amount. And
Yeah.
I hope the state sticks to the commitment. I'm not sure if we will be able to show some offsets to the costs in the near term or the intermediate term. You know, uh, but but maybe if we can document. Well, they showed in one case that people are taking more trips to the hospital, which is good because that means that
Yes.
potentially they're getting better health care, which will cost us less
Mhm.
financially, but also it makes for a better quality of life. But if they can also
Yeah.
show that people we are actually using the T and they wouldn't otherwise mean that it might be
Yep.
they might use some other mode. And if they're mode shifting from a less safe or less green mode, then that could be beneficial.
Yep.
And it would be interesting to see if by cutting the cost by half, you make it such that people who might take an Uber at the normal cost, which is still a lot more expensive, we would now
Yeah.
use the T at the reduced rate because the delta is greater. If there's like a psychological effect, I don't know. If they're able to tease that out, or even if that data is even available in some way, but anyways, it's good to see this. And I think the state's going to support it. In the next fiscal year, seems to be,
I hope so.
in the budget, meaning that I think the T is going to get enough money that they get the money to cover that. I don't know, but I think in the last year, the Healy administration actually dedicated money to it, in the budget. So it wasn't like we're just going to give the T some money, and we would like for them to spend it on this program. It's more like this is money for this program, so the T had no choice
Okay.
but to fund the program, if I understand it correctly. So I would imagine, we'll get this in the budget for the next 2 years. I mean, the governor is on board with it, and I'm pretty sure the legislature is. So that's that one.
Quick question.
Yeah.
Do you happen to know if there's any inflation forecast factored in? I mean, I know trying to predict inflation is almost impossible, but well, actually, I think I just might have answered my own question. Since trying to predict inflation is really difficult, these probably aren't taking into account inflation, like for costs like operational costs and material costs involved in the program, right? I mean, how could it factor in inflation?
Well, I mean, you have I think the standard inflation rate in transportation. I mean, I think when we do it for the MPO, I think it's like 4% flat.
Oh, okay.
And so they may be doing it flat here. And I think the reason they do it maybe a little bit higher than you would if you were compounding it because they don't want to compound. It's just kind of simply math. I mean, if you do like a 4% flat versus like a 2 to 3%, 2.5 to 3% compounded.
I can see that.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
There are some pretty good cost sources, including Fred. The Federal Reserve Bank of St. Louis has a long database, and the folks at CTPS and elsewhere in the transportation employment here, they're pretty familiar with how to do that. I would think that they would look at the sources, past averages and trends, including Fred, and probably just be a touch conservative, but not too much.
Yeah.
Okay. I have to admit, I really hadn't thought of that before tonight. And just one last quick thing is, you know what? I might be answering my own question again. This is 100% MBTA, right? So this is nothing to do with fares, any kind of funding or reduced fare for. Yeah, I'm answering my own question. The RTAs don't factor into this. This is MBTA 100%. Yeah. Yep, that's clear. Because I know we were talking a couple months ago about state funding for RTAs, but that's clearly not the scope here. Okay. Boy, I'm answering my own questions just one after another tonight.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the next one is the Safety Division Monthly Board Report.
Oh, okay. I haven't checked to look at that one. Is that Safety Division Monthly Board Report? Yes, I got that.
So this one's interesting. This one may be a good one to eventually track. I'm sure they'll provide the tracking. But I think it's very nicely formatted. Just from the charts, it's kind of easy to see what's going on. But then even better, is first off, they break it out. So you have heavy rail all lines, but then underneath that they break out the orange line, the blue line, and the red line. And at the bottom, especially for the injuries, they explain what's going on with the injuries. For instance, heavy rail all lines, the injuries, transit workers, customer injuries fell below. They included 4 station injuries, 2 collisions with person, 2 platform injuries, 2 stair injuries, 1 escalator injury, 1 pit injury, and 1 boarding injury. So I think I had said the last time we saw similar data that I would have to go to the National Transit database in order to get a further description of what happened, because I was kind of interested in what happened. And I may still eventually go there because it'll be also interesting to see. Because with the description when I read them a while ago were pretty detailed. So they give you like time of day and maybe some other situations, descriptions of what happened. But still, this is good. That they kind of break down what happened with injuries. And they also give you a little breakdown on assaults on transit workers. I mean, so 4 verbal assaults and 2 physical assaults when they was unable to determine. I mean, so I'm glad they are showing both the verbal and the physical, because the verbal is it's an assault. I mean, but also, I mean, I think if we were to see an increase in verbal, it might kind of presage an increase in physical, but I'm just making that up. But it's just something to keep an eye on, and also it'll be interesting to see if there's some seasonal aspect into it, because as we know, like shootings, goes up in the summertime. Partly is that the kids are out of school. So from a friend of mine who was involved with gangs, gang policing, he said what happens in the summertime is not only that people are outdoors, but kids are out of school, and some of the tensions that kind of started in school, they kind of come out of school. The kids are not in school, and now they're outdoors. And so that's a lot of what you see is an increase, in violence in the summertime. But I think also, I think it's just, I don't know what it is about the summertime dynamic. Maybe it's just people are just outdoors more in the wintertime, and they're just indoors more. And maybe it is kinetic. It's like heat just makes the molecules move faster, makes the humans move faster, and the more kinetic they are, the more likely they are to collide with each other, physically and emotionally. But once again, I'm just making it up. But the whole point is just to keep an eye on these and see what happens from month to month. So this is the June deck but it's giving you the April data. And I mean, that's the reasonable lag, I would say. But on light rail, the numbers, I would say are more or less similar. But it's interesting to see what's going on with the collisions, and the injuries and the assaults. Once again, 3 verbal assaults, 1 physical assault. But bus, take a look at bus.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah. So, but
oh no.
Most of those are verbal. So it's 47 verbal and 5 physical. And so it'd be interesting to maybe get some insights as to what's going on with these verbals. Are they fare related? I suspect they are. And if they're not, it'd be really interesting to see what's going on there. Like, why is someone assaulting the bus driver if it's not on fares?
Right.
And I mean, the same thing goes for the other modes to a certain extent. I mean, the red line, there's really no fare interaction with the red line. So I'm not sure what's going on with worker assault there, verbal, and so is that the train operator, or is there someone else associated with the red line where you're getting these?
Or the customer service agent in station.
Right. And I wonder if they're included in this. I would like to think that they are, but I don't know for sure.
Well,
go ahead.
Just while I'm back on this slide, would either of you have any sense of what separates a station injury from platform, from stair, from escalator? I mean, I can understand why platform is separate from stairs, separate from escalator. Okay. Or even from pit. But in my mind, the platforms, the stairs, the escalators, and the pits are all part of the station, right? So
I would say anything in a station that's not one of those things would be station.
Yep.
Oh, Occam's razor. Okay. That's a very astute view. Yeah.
Or just subtraction. So
Yep.
Yeah. I would just say take but that's just a guess on my part. I think it's still a legitimate question. I hadn't thought to ask a question, but I'm just saying that by just kind of deducting, but I'm not, my confidence that I'm right about it is
Oh, I understand. I understand.
60%. Well, I
Yeah.
just say that because you said it's like, oh, as if to say, why didn't I think of that? And I'm going, well, I don't want
Okay.
you to say, why didn't I think of that? And say, well, Len's right on this. I don't,
Oh, I got
I
you.
like,
I got
I'm
you.
just only 60% confident that I'm right about it. You know?
I think it's a very good idea.
Yeah.
But it does sort of beg the question, how does an injury occur if it's not a collision with the vehicle, not on the platform, not on stairs, not on escalator? I mean, I mean this kind of seriously. Are people getting injured by the fare gates? Like getting hit by a door that slams shut in the wind? I mean, like I just
Maybe it's outside the
I'm
station. I don't know.
I'm just trying to imagine what
I mean, yeah, it could
would
be outside the
constitute.
station. Maybe
Yeah.
there is a perimeter that defines the station.
Oh
Then
yeah, because if it's
anything.
MBTA property,
I don't know. I mean, like I said, I mean,
Well,
the
so
more we talk about it, the less certain I am about knowing what that is.
oh
Go ahead.
sorry,
That's fine. That's fine. That's good. It's a good question.
yeah, go ahead, Wick.
Yeah.
slips and falls is a really big insurance category.
Oh, of course, yes. Hmm. Well,
So,
I guess I'm just asking that because I mean, of the ones that are called out,
right.
there's 4 in station injuries. I don't know if that means that that's the largest category. I don't think I want to make that blanket statement, but it's certainly uh I'll just say to me that's interesting, if nothing else. In the light rail platform onboard right of way, again, 1 station injury. Oh, where is there a pit? Oh, I hope that's not an employee or not. That's not a transit worker. Because this on light rail, I don't think there's any pit except in the maintenance facilities, right? Yeah, because light rail is
Those,
basically level boarding
yeah. Well, those pit probably
from,
are transit workers because they are included in the injury
yeah,
stats. Yeah.
good point. Wow, that's a shame.
Which was something that made me kind of wonder about why. And I think when we had a guest, we talked about me is the metric of millions or thousands of vehicle miles the appropriate
Yeah.
metric, meaning for someone that is working, on the rails, because they're not moving,
Mhm.
and so if maybe what you're saying, and maybe now as I'm thinking about it, it might be, well, you can have the 100 trips of a train, being, and let's say that 100 trips generates a million miles. I'm just making this all up.
Mhm.
And in that million miles, you have 1 collision with a track worker.
Mhm.
Then I can see then how that would be a metric that could give you some insights as to the frequency, of injuries, of rail workers. So, and it is kind
Yeah.
of consistent across all the other metrics. So it's funny. I just thought of that rationale, for using it. Interesting. Okay. Well, anything else?
Yeah. No, I don't think so. Well, maybe I'll just mention, have we ever seen this kind of the NTD classification summary before? I think this is great that they included. I don't personally recall ever having seen this uh classification, I guess, chart included in the MBTA presentation. That's
Yeah, it's an
excellent.
appendix. Yeah, I don't recall seeing it either. I mean, you have to go back maybe a month or so and see what
Yeah,
it was like a month ago. I don't recall it either, but they do have this tendency to change the reports, the format of the
sure.
reports, fairly frequently, and more often than not, they get better. They provide more information. There was, like, in the last 12 to 18 months, I thought, like, a degradation, for lack of a better word,
Oh,
in the amount and the quality of data in some of the slides. They were just a little more general, and
yep.
and I was used to having more detail in the slides. And a lot of times the tension is, well, we have so much information there, the slide isn't very readable. It's like, well, well, yeah, you can't take it all in, in a few seconds. But if you want to spend some time actually reading and delving into what's on the slide, then you can get the information. So like, just please put it there, and you can put it in the appendix. And if you want to do like a summary slide, that's fine. But then give us the details, in the slide itself, or at a minimum, give us a link, to more of the data. Yeah. So yeah, I don't recall it, but yeah, it's here, and let's hopefully it'll stay here. In fact, I'm trying to do a quick scan to see if it says anything about station injuries and how those are defined.
Oh, that's a good idea, actually.
But I'm not.
If I do a search for station, no, at least on this slide deck, or this document, the word station only appears in the context of the injury quantifications, but that's okay.
Right.
But
yeah,
well,
I don't see it. I don't see it mentioned, in the appendix either.
That's okay.
Sorry.
No, that's all right. Don't worry. Well, I'm gonna go on record, for whatever it's worth. I'm gonna go on record in saying that I am very appreciative to the agency for including these NTD classifications in the appendix. So kudos to whomever added these in, because that's great.
Yeah, I mean, I think the safety review every month is really good too. Yeah. And Darren, as you might have seen, had a presentation in the safety briefing, and he talked about heat related death statistics. And Wig, we don't want you to be one of these, all right?
Yes.
So it shows that there were 2,300 deaths being attributed to excessive heat. A 117% increase over 1999. So over the last 24 years, it's increased by 117%. But of those 2,300, only 2 were in Massachusetts, which I think is just phenomenal. Just phenomenal. I mean, considering that you do have the very dense areas here like Somerville and Chelsea that don't have they have a lot of people with very low income. And I would imagine a lot of places that don't have AC because structures in this part of the country just aren't generally built for AC. And they're not really built to get rid of the heat either. They're built to kind of keep the heat in. So, but we do have a lot of water parks. We have, and as you know in the news, we get a lot of heat emergencies in places where people can go and cool off. So I don't know if people are taking advantage of those or if they are somehow managing to stay cool enough in place. But
it's different though. Growing up in northern New Jersey, it was 10 degrees hotter. So, if something hits 99 here, it could be 109 in the shade in New Jersey.
Right.
That can be a big difference to somebody with marginal health.
Right. Yeah. And it might be just that but all we complain about these heat waves, we can generally count on 2 hands, and our feet, the number of days that we have over 90, and the number of days over 90, with very high heat indices.
Right.
And so it's not very hot here for very long.
Right.
So it just could be as simple as that.
Yep, I think that's right.
But the point I think that Darren was making in the slide though is that the numbers are going up. We know the cause.
Well, and depending on how the federal cutbacks on aid continue, these statistics could change a lot.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people who kind of look out for these issues. But if the funding is just gone, it's going to really be reliant on individuals and and personal effort and small group effort to help out in some of these situations that previously the federal government was funding.
Right. Yep. I hear you. I agree. So apparently, um, this is National Safety Month. This is the next deck, safety updates.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of interesting to see. I mean, they're listing of the plans, and how safety is factoring into everything that they do, especially when it comes to capital um, planning. So I mean, the deck is excuse me, a good read, but we don't need to dwell on it here because I don't think there's anything that I want to mention specifically.
Okay. Am I showing the right one here, Len, just for reference?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I put the link into the Zoom chat, so it's documented which one we're talking about. I should give us a time check because I've got coming up on 6:03, and I feel like we should pull in the review from the subcommittees.
Sure. Or we could just go to where we want to talk about setting up priming things for next month with Alexandra. So
Oh no, I've actually got something I want to share a little bit about the meeting 2 weeks ago about the Lynn project. A little more, just a brief tidbit. Excuse me, beg your pardon. Um, shall I pull in the
yeah, I'm done.
subcommittee notes? No, you don't have to be.
I want to be.
Okay, fair
well,
enough.
Just say, the last thing is the operating budget, and so that's
Oh
been
yeah.
passed, and so some interesting stats in that you might want to take a look at,
You
especially.
want me to pull it up? Or do you want
Well,
to?
sure. I mean, I'll just briefly say, I mean, we should keep an eye on the fact that the revenue that we're getting from the state, meaning from the sales tax, is down $50 million, which is probably an early economic indicator. So yeah, I mean, if the state taking in less revenue, less taxes, and the T what the T gets from the state is a function of the sales tax. I mean, if that's going down, then that's an harbinger, of some problem in the
Yep.
economy. Yeah, so either it's a dislocation, I mean, and you have economic vibrancy, but it's like shifting from people buying things, or there's something else going on that's more perhaps menacing is quite the word ominous, with
Yeah.
respect to the
Yeah.
future. It
Yeah.
could be just a blip. It could be just a blip, so but it is
Okay.
for a year's forecast. I mean, so it's not like we're saying, well, I mean, for 2 or 3 months they're expecting a downturn.
Yep.
So that's it. That's the only thing I really wanted to point out.
Okay. Thank you.
Um,
All right, let me bring in the subcommittee minutes so we can get that on record.
I'm gonna go off mic and off camera for a little bit, but
Yeah, no worries. I hope you'll be able to hear. So in case I miss anything, all three of us were at the subcommittee, so I don't think I need to go into any detail. Wig, how's the size of that? Is that a good enough size, or I'm going to make it a little bit larger for you?
Well, it's pretty small.
All right. Hey, no, that's okay. Hey, look, it's at my fingertips. There we go.
Yep.
So like I said, I don't think we're already at 5 after 6. I think let me just scan. These are my own notes.
Yep.
Let me just see if I want to call out verbally anything on oh yeah. Yeah. I think this might have been my own question, and I think that's worth asking in the future is what is the stance on the agency encouraging, not encouraging people to use all of the tools that are out in the market as such for AI, large language models, and is the agency concerned about leaking anything out to AI as such that shouldn't be put out publicly? I mean, not that we want to see the MBTA guard any data that ought to be publicly available, but there's always something that shouldn't be made completely public in any agency, even a public agency, for security issues or privacy issues. And is there what are there for safeguards for letting privacy protected or security related data, preventing it from getting out into training the AIs that are publicly available? Oh yeah, thank you again, Wig, for talking about that.
Yeah,
That's a
well,
really good point.
yeah, we'll see. I mean, this is one of those things that are going to have benefits and disadvantages.
Yeah. Oh, and I'm going to add a note here. The perplexity that Len recommended was as an AI model. I didn't actually put that note in, that what perplexity is. Let me see. Any other highlights before I move on to the one external meeting that I want to mention briefly?
Well, this is not so much focused on this group, but
Okay, that's fine.
I do think that there will be people who soon recognize the advantage of AI for community benefit.
Yes.
For EJ benefit, for community benefit, for environmental benefit. I think that the first things people will be looking for are one, faster learning, of expertise, basically. And then the second thing will be financial advantage. But I think there's also going to be a huge potential for social benefit if, you know, and I think these, if I don't know that much about it, but if you just look at ChatGPT and, Sam Altman having tried to walk away from it and then having walked back to it, I think people like that, I mean, they know they don't need all the money that's being created. So I think some of those people are not going to be looking to dominate their markets so much as they may be looking to what's the net benefit from these things.
Yeah, that's very well said. Yeah, if I put my optimist hat on, the one word I think I can use for AI, large language models, that technology direction, it's empowerment. I mean, it's
Yeah,
in a way, it's empowerment like we saw the internet of the late 90s, early 2000s,
right,
before everybody
right,
rushed to invest and there was a boom and a bust, boom and
right.
a bubble. But hey, we still have the internet. It didn't, just because there was a upward and a crash of the dot coms, that didn't diminish the overall trend upwards of benefit for the internet. So yeah, hopefully, like I
Well,
said, empowerment's the word that comes to mind for me.
I mean, look at Allen Foundation, Gates Foundation, and
Yep.
Bill Gates' apparent primary purpose right now is giving away $200 billion during the
Yep.
remainder of his lifetime.
Yep. I sent in my name and address to him. I haven't heard back yet. And I'm Joe. Sorry. I'm sorry. I don't mean to be flippant about something serious, but sorry, I couldn't resist.
I'm not worried about it. I mean, he's everybody makes mistakes, but
Yep.
He's pretty smart, and
Yeah. I
he's
just realized.
understood that there is no benefit from consumption at that level.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true. I just realized I'm gonna take very quickly. I'm going to take all of the links that I put into the subcommittee minutes document here, and with one fell swoop, I can copy and paste all of the different document links. At least I thought I could. Maybe there's too many in one.
That's okay. Give it a try.
There we go. I got to
There
break
we
them
go.
up into two sections. So this way we've got it covered a little better. We've got the links that we discussed. They're actually in the doc, but now I pasted them all into the Zoom chat.
Great.
All right. So that's making it a little more of a public record for what we discussed, excuse me. Anything more on the subcommittee? Hopefully, Len, you can still hear. Anything else you wanted to add or correct or supplement with comment? All right, hearing nothing, I will move us back to the agenda. Would it be okay with you gents if I just pulled in something brief about the Lynn busway transitway project? Because I like this particular article for getting some good graphics in here from various sources. As you can see, this is a
Where was it?
Oh, it was held right at the Lynn Museum, right?
Yeah, I couldn't attend, but
that's okay.
Where's the article?
Oh, this article, I will put the link. It's in streetsblog.org.
Okay.
Yeah. The link is in the Zoom chat if you want.
Great. Thanks.
If you want, I can email it to you later.
Yeah, that's great. Anytime. That would be great.
Yeah. I'll email this.
Conflict, so
that's okay. No, as soon as this Zoom is done tonight, I'll email you this link.
Okay.
So like I said, I attended. We talked about this in the subcommittee, which was the day before this meeting.
Yep.
I like this article because it pulled in some disparate material, including this rendering showing the green space, separated bus lanes, green space separated from the traffic flow. Again, this is a 2021 rendering. But I believe this is one of the ones that was still shown at the event. I believe I saw this graphic at the event. And I believe the general reception was this is the sidewalk right now. This is yeah. So the conditions right now are grim in a lot of that corridor. And
but those trees are nice.
Oh, yes. And there's some great trees. I think we talked about this in detail at the subcommittee. This is available online. If you follow the link to that article, you can get this. I didn't hear any really negative feedback from the other people attending this meeting, other than sort of a general theme of, what are we going to do if we go from 3 lanes to 2? Oh my gosh. But I believe the data is pretty convincing about when you've got some traffic calming measures like timed signaling. You take the buses out into a dedicated lane. It means there's less swerving around buses stopped at a bus stop, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I believe the data is there to say designs like this actually decrease traffic and increase flow, not to mention making it safer for pedestrians and bicyclists. So I guess I'm just going to leave it at that, because that. Oh yeah, and the bike trail connection as well. Yeah,
right.
The corridor is off here next, relatively close to the shore, but the Northern Strand Trail is really ramping up, and it's going to have that connection to the corridor, which is going to allow a lot more flow to industry, residences. I think it remains to be seen what's going to happen with the Riverworks commuter rail station. It's still private right now. You have to be a GE employee as of, I mean, unless you heard otherwise, Wig. I haven't looked in several months, but
Well, it was it was always a discretionary stop, right?
oh, right, but you couldn't even get to it unless you were a GE employee because it's on GE property. You can't even access the station unless you are allowed to and you enter the GE property. So hopefully that's going to change, unless I'm mistaken and it has opened up. I believe it's still private. But that would be a great opportunity. Again, again, it's the corridor
Yeah.
and the connection down to Wonderland.
I imagine, I mean, the security's not super tight in that location in my experience.
Yep. And just as far as the event itself, great turnout from MBTA. I met and I talked at length with Alex Hollowell, who is the director of Transit Priority, and she not only has under her team the transit signal priority, such as buses approach a traffic light intersection, signal, automatic transponder signals to have the bus flow through, etc. That's under her team. But also the effort, I don't know if you remember, in April in front of the board, there was the discussion of the upcoming changes in policy for ticketing, for enforcement. I don't know if we talked a lot about it in the intervening couple of months, but this was before the board back in April. I think we looked at this, but this is Alex Hollowell's team. So I am looking forward. If things go as planned, we should have Alex Hollowell, again, director of Transit Priority. Hopefully she'll be joining us 4 weeks from now for the July 22nd meeting, and we can talk about all of this. So there's a teaser. Anything do you want to ask about the Lynn meeting? I mean, I could go on a little bit, but I don't think I would add any value at this point.
Nope. So yeah, it's a great tease for next month, and I'll see if I can get Carney, to join us, at our subcommittee full in 2 weeks.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Maybe try and get him and Wolfgang same time.
Yeah.
For the last, I'll chime in. I'll contact Dave and say, I hear you're leaving.
Well,
what?
No. Let's frame it in terms of I hope the rumor I heard is wrong. Yeah, but you know what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what you mean. Well,
Yeah, I'm gonna look right at the camera and say I'm going on record saying Dave Carney is a huge asset to the agency, and it's gonna be a damn shame when he someday retires. We are gonna miss him, but he's not retired yet. But kudos to Dave Carney for all the work over multiple decades, right?
I don't know if shame is the word to use. It's not like he's being fired, or dismissed. He's more like he's leaving.
When you got somebody that's so talented.
Yeah, but the word. But usually when someone leaves in shame, it's bad. So it's just
it'll be a shame.
Okay, never mind.
Right?
Never mind. I'm nitpicky.
It'll be too bad. Yeah. Okay.
Never mind. I'm nitpicky. So I get your sentiment. So
yeah,
I'm not going to defend my feelings or thoughts on this anymore. It's not worth it. So
yeah. I mean, hey, I thought it was a shame when Steve Hicks retired. I thought it was a shame when Jeff Goneville left. I thought it was, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I get your point. I get your point
differently than I do. So I just saw a spark and heard a pop. Right across the street from me. I'm next to one story, drugstore. So I have a little more of a view of the sky than other houses that are next to 2- and 3-story buildings.
Yeah.
And so I saw this flash of light. I think a transformer just blew.
Oh, could be the air conditioning load is pretty high right now.
Yeah,
hey
that's
guys,
what I'm thinking.
I got to hop to get ready for the 6:30 meeting.
Okay. Let me make a quick eyeball. There's nobody watching on YouTube, and you've both got to go for 6:30 meetings. And Len, if you're concerned about power issues, I don't want to tie you
No,
up.
no, I'm surprised. So I turned off my computer. That
Okay.
isn't on UPS. But I'm fine with power here. And I'm using laptops, so I have batteries. But
Okay,
yeah,
I gotcha.
I could use a few minutes. To just kind of get some water, freshen up, as they say, before my 6:30 and then 7 o'clock meeting. So
Yep.
all
Okay.
right. Well, just good.
Yes, thank you both.
Thank you.
This was a lot of great material and discussion. I appreciate it.
Me too.
And for folks who are watching this later on YouTube, thank you for watching us. And I don't plug this very often, but you can contact us at roc@mbtaroc.org. And that's right off of the mbtaroc.org website. If anybody needs to contact us, it's right there. You can use this interface, but it's also roc@mbtaroc.org for regular old email. Good night, gents. Stay safe.
Stay
Keep
cool.
cool. And Wig, thank you for sending me that the link to the meeting, and I will reciprocate by sending you the link to the article on the Linway.